Hi guys, welcome back to making a birthday cake picture. Um, so I looked at some cool references and I realized I want a blue cake. So my cake was green. I just used my black arrow to select the shapes. I can click one shape, hold down shift, and click the other two to select them. And then I just double clicked on the fill color and I can change it to whatever color I want. I just realized that I was like, I'm feeling a blue cake now. I thought I wanted green. No, now I want blue. So first thing is I'm going to show you guys how we can draw inside of a cake, all right? Because let's say for some reason you wanted to make your cake have polka dots, or your cake you wanted to have like some kind of stripes or something like that. It would kind of take forever and it would be a little difficult to, make stripes or whatnot and then have to like kind of cut them out of the outside white area. So how do we do that? So first things first, if you're going to put anything in the cake, I would recommend building it outside in your green space here and then moving it to your cake. So, for example, I want to make these little cute frosting florets, and I'm going to show you how we can do that. All right. So, I'm not going to make them that detailed because that would take me forever. But I am going to start with just a ellipses tool or a circle tool and a frosting color. I'm going to click white, but I think I'm going to double click on here. If I double click on my fill color, my foreground color, I get this color picker. And I can hit this eyedropper tool, and it actually helps me click an existing color on my page. So I'm going to click the kind of tan frosting color and click OK. Okay. Now I'm going to make a circle. Now, if I just click and drag, I can make an oval, a circle, whatever size I want. Now, if you want a very even ratio circle, then when you click, you're going to hold down Option and Shift. And that'll make it grow from wherever you clicked, and it'll also make it keep an even ratio. Perfect. Okay. So this I'm going to turn into like a little frosting doodad. And I think what I'm going to try first is I'm first going to make sure that I can blend and I can make the little loops. So I'll show you how we're going to do this. Okay. So, oopsies. I have one little frosting glob here. What I'm going to do next, and this is how we copy shapes in Illustrator, is I'm going to hold down Alt. See, if you hold down Alt, these little two arrows pop up. So I'm going to hold down Alt, click, and drag, and then I'm going to release my mouse before I release Alt. And now I have two frosting globs. And what I want to do is blend them together to make multiple more frosting globs that are in between them. All right. And to do that, there's actually this nifty little tool right here called the blend tool. Looks like this. If you can't see it, you can go to Object, Blend, and there it is. But all I'm going to do is click on this tool, click on my first glob of frosting and my second glob of frosting. And voila, it just blended them together. All right. And it made all these other little individual globs. Now, if yours doesn't look right, like they're all blurred really like kind of like a lot together, or there's only like two blends, like you can edit this. If you go to Object, Blend, Blend Options, you can change this. So you can change how many steps, meaning how many frostings are there. So let's say I only want four frostings in between. So now it only has four steps in between my two first ones. Or maybe I want a ton. Maybe I want 10 globs. That's a lot, but that's how that works. Okay. I'm gonna stick with nine. I think nine's okay. Nah, do eight. Cool. And then I'm gonna click Align to Path, this tool right here. All right. Okay, good. And then I'm gonna hit OK. Okay. So obviously this kind of looks like the little frosting globs, but it needs to curve because that's what I liked about this. I like the little like loop it's doing. So I want to make the path or the line that is controlling these globs change. How I'm going to do that is I'm going to double click on this. Double click. Okay, and if I double click in there, we see the gray bar has appeared here. That means we're inside of a shape. We're inside this blended medley of shapes, all right? And I'm going to click on this, the path, and I'm going to add a curve to it or add a anchor point. So I'm going to click plus on my keyboard, and that is going to give me the pen tool with a plus sign next to it. That's going to let me add an anchor point. So I'm going to click. If you zoom in, you can see there's a little anchor point there. There's an anchor point at the end. There's an point over here. Perfect. So now I'm going to use my white arrow and I'm going to click on this new anchor point I made and I'm going to drag it down. And we can see that it's adjusting my little frosting guys positions. All right. Now this is too sharp. I don't want that. But remember, if you click on a corner point, a corner anchor point, there will always be this little like meatball shape. So I can click on that meatball shape and drag it up and it'll round it out. Okay. So I can adjust this more, but that's how I'm going to make a little kind of like frosting loop-de-loo or however you want to call it, little decoration. And I can adjust the handlebars on these anchor points. Handlebars are the things that help us control the curves of lines. So adjust that until it looks about the way I want it. And I think that'll be good. So now to get out of this, so I can edit other things, so I can add this to my cake, I'm going to go up here to this gray bar and I'm going to hit the back button. Back one level. Back one more level. Perfect. Okay. So I'm going to click on my little frosting and drag it over. Okay. So I think that's going to look good for what I want. So this is how I'm going to put it actually in the cake. All right. I'm going to hit Control or Command C to copy this shape. Then I'm going to click on whatever cake tier I want to start with. So let's say the top. And then I'm going to go over to where my stroke and fill are, right on this left-hand side. And if you scroll down just below, you'll see that there are these three buttons. One says draw normal, one says draw behind, and one says draw inside. We're going to click draw inside. What that means is you'll notice that my top tier has like these little dotted box around it. It means that if I paste the shape that I copied, so Command V or Control V, and if I move this around, you'll see it doesn't leave this top tier. So it's nice because I can like put stuff in here without worrying about it's going to show up somewhere else. So I'm going to copy, or it's already copied. I can copy it again if I want, Control or Command C. And to get out of this top frosting area, I'm going to go back to the three buttons below the foreground and fill stroke. And I'm going to click Draw Normal. And then I'm going to click on my next tier, hit the Draw Inside again, paste my little frosting loop-de-loop. And I'm going to make several versions of it here or loops. So I'm just holding down Alt to make copies. And what's great is I can move them. And if for some reason you click off and then you're like, oh, I can't grab them again, double click. There you go. See, double click can let me grab them and kind of all move them because I want it to look pretty and even. Cute. All right, last one, click on it, and then I'm gonna hit the draw inside. I'm gonna paste in my little frosting loops, and I might drag these to be these a little bigger. So if I go to the side and hold down Shift and drag, I can adjust the size of this. Because I think it makes sense that, like, the bottom tier, maybe the frosting loops are a little bigger. Double click, move these to good. Okay, cute. So that was my attempt to do the little frosting ringies here, which I don't think it was too shabby, right? So I would say experiment more with what you can put inside of the cakes when you do the draw inside. That's the purpose of why I did the frosting thing, is to show you that you can click on shapes. And if you click the little draw inside, which I already did it, so it's already set up to be a draw inside shape. So I just double click to get back in there. That you can add all these cool things. So if I wanted to, I could grab some of my other tools, like the pencil tool maybe, and maybe I grab kind of a white frosting color and I kind of just, oopsies. I'm going to make sure I'm using a stroke, not a fill. And let's say I draw something here. All right, so I just drew a line, but if I exit out of here, the line doesn't go outside of the cake. Okay? So experiment, have fun, do weird things. Maybe I'm grabbing a circle and maybe I'm going to make, like kind of like off blue polka dots inside of here. Like I can do whatever I want. And you can do whatever you want. Right? But just know you do have to have some sort of decor happening inside of the cake, okay? Awesome. Okay, go for it, making frosting beads. Another thing you can say, or sorry, I can say that you can do is if you want to kind of do this drippy effect that I did here, I'll show you real quick before I end this video and let you guys move on to the next one. So if I make a line, and I'm going to make a line using my pen tool. So to get your pen tool, you just hit P, okay? And I'm going to make sure I'm using a stroke only, no fill. I'm going to click to make the beginning of my line and click somewhere else to make the end of my line. And if I hold down Shift, it'll just go horizontal. Okay, cool. And now what I'm going to do is I am going to go to Effect, Distort and Transform, Zigzag. If I click that, this panel appears. And what it does is it gives me options for messing with this zigzag. And what I like to do is to turn on smooth, because then instead of a zigzag, it looks like a wave. And I think we can kind of make it look like a cute little like cake, I don't know, cake separation, frosting separation, something like that. I'm going to click OK once it looks the way I want. All right. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on it and I'm going to go to Object, Expand Appearance. And what that does is it releases it because before it was just an effect, but now this is the actual shape. And you know that because if you zoom in, you can see the little blue line going through the middle of this stroke of this line. And that means that I've applied the effect. I can't take it back right now. Okay. So then what I do is I grab a pen tool and I click on one side of my little squiggly wave and I just kind of click up somewhere, click over here, and I click down here to just kind of to merge it. And that way I can go to my fill and stroke and I can click the swap button, which swaps the fill and stroke to make it kind of a solid like blue frosting, which I think actually I'm not going to make this a blue frosting. I'm going to click on it. And because I love to pick from my references, I think I'm going to make this pink. So I'm going to hit my I, which I stands for eyedropper tool. That's the thing that helps us pick up other colors in our document. So I'm gonna hit I. I'm gonna zoom in and I'm gonna click one of these pink little roses because I like their colors. Cute. It's like a little peachy rose color. Okay. Now I'm gonna click on this frosting. I'm gonna hit Control C. Then I'm gonna go over to my tiers and I gotta click on my first tier and I'm gonna double click to go inside of it. And I'm going to Control V, paste my frosting, and I'm going to move it up. Now notice that it's covering up my little cute globs of frosting that I had. That's okay. What I can do is I can right click and go arrange, send backward. Or you can go arrange, send to back. There we go. So that sent it behind my little frosting globs. Okay, I'll go back, click on the next tier, double click, Control V to paste my frosting line, right click, arrange, send to back to put it behind the kind of little decor I have on the top. And I'll do the same for this last one. Double click to get in there, Control V to paste. I might have to scale this up a little bit. Ooh, there we go. Right click, arrange, send to back. There we go. All right, I might fiddle with colors, but you need to do something inside there. So go ahead and put what you want inside of your cake. learning how to use these draw inside, and then you can join me in the next video.